Hello and welcome to Coffee on Korriban. This is a cold open. StreamYard wasn't letting me get in and upload the intro video, so we're just going to go straight into it. So some people, their main criticism of Andor is it's not Star Wars. To an extent, I agree with them. I'll explain later. Maybe you'll see my reasoning as we get into it a little bit later, but that seems to be the take of the people that either made it one episode or two episodes or maybe even a couple episodes, but then they just weren't really clicking with it. That seems to be mainly what they say. It's not Star Wars. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight. We're going to play Wikipedia Fact or Cap. You guys seemed to like that last time. We are focusing today on Captain Panaka. Didn't know a whole lot about him until I put this game together for us tonight. But we're going to do that. We're going to talk all things Andor, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it in the chat. So go ahead and put 1 through 10. How do you rate Andor as a whole so far, and do you think it's Star Wars? Put that in the chat, and we'll read that when we get back in a second. And let's say hello to the people in chat. We've got Lemon Meerkat. Here's a sip for you. Charlie, here's a sip for you. Aussie Star Wars Nerd, here's a sip for you. Dale Erdman, here's a sip for you. Don Clatterman. Is it Clatterman or Clayterman? I still do not know. So put in chat which one it is. Remind me, please. We've got Aiden S. Here's a sip for you. Israel Garcia, here's a sip for you. Obviously, Subdude, here's a sip for you. John Graber, the Space Jockey, here's a sip for you. Good talking with you the other night, by the way, on Echo Base. I think this is the first time I've seen you here, so welcome if this is your first time. Jedi Hush, here's a sip for you. Smarty Pants Tutoring, here's a sip for you. He's been putting some awesome comments in my videos recently, and I really appreciate that. And Isaac Kuo, here's a sip for you. All right, and I'll read a couple more of those after I bring in my guests. I want to hear their takes on how they like Andor so far. So first off, where is that video?
Surprise! Bad butt.
Hello.
Hello. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be here. I was going to mention that about Smarty Pants Tutoring too. I was reading some of the comments that he was putting in your video from today. They're really good. So
that's really the thing that's been blowing
great.
My mind. Yeah, that's what's blowing my mind the most the last few weeks is just the thoughtfulness that people are putting into these comments and actually, putting effort into writing these comments and explaining how they feel. It's really nice to see, and that's ultimately what we want to cultivate on this little corner of YouTube. But I'm going to bring in my other guy right here. He is terrifying.
Coffee. Here's a sip for you. I got my water. So.
Oh, thank you very much. Coffee is mostly water anyway. So, but this next guy I want to bring in, he is terrifying, and this clip shows it. X-Wing, welcome back.
Hello, Don.
How are you doing? That's a sick hat, by the way.
I don't appreciate that. You took me at my weakest, and then you showed it to the world, okay?
Well, that'll be the last time I play that.
That was beautiful. I appreciate it. Being the most junior of all the facial hair here, I appreciate you bringing me on. And
bow. I was gonna call it Beard Council because that's usually what I call it when Matt Cave is here. But you don't even have a beard.
I don't have that. No, I have to keep my kind of rounded, fat jawline at 31. There's like a little fluff on the side, but believe me, it's there. It's still there. Just
I got a lot more fluff than I'd like to admit.
There's Snapchat skins you can throw on your camera. So
perfect. Yeah. See, that's what I should be doing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Let me check out some comments real quick, and then I'll get your guys' take on. Don, I have to correct you. Let's delicately tap that like button because I would hate for people to break their their phones or whatever you guys are watching it on. So delicately tap the like button. I would appreciate that. Israel says 9.4 out of 10. It's a very specific number, but I feel like I can see the reason behind it.
Yeah.
8.
How was your prompt worded, by the way, to get the number? How was it worded?
Let's see. What did I say? How is your rating out as a whole of Andor? I think Andor as a whole up to this point.
Like by itself, aside from anything else, just how did they do on it?
See, that's an interesting question. Like, I might put that poll up in my community tab later as to like, if it wasn't Star Wars, how would you rate Andor? Just as a show.
Yeah, that's a totally different question.
That's a very different question. But speaking of polls, even with the whole Star Wars and everything, this poll really is blowing my mind. So I asked them, which do you agree with the most? Andor is perfect, Andor is a snooze fest, Andor is not fun, or Andor is pretty good.
Sparkly Luthen thumbnail for perfect?
It sure is.
I just wanted to check maybe my eyes.
No, you're correct.
Now on that one, I wanted, as did many people, something between pretty good and perfect.
And I'm going to do another poll that is just like pretty good, really good, almost perfect, perfect. I'm going to do another poll like that because
they'll tighten that up a little bit.
Right, because as you can see on here, actually, I didn't even have the results in there. I grabbed the wrong screenshot. Anyway, trust me when I say 78% of that poll said perfect.
This is a single-sided argument, though,
because you're going from
the argument
good,
for Andor is so multifaceted that you can't boil it down to one opinion.
Right, and so I really like that I've been getting, the different types of polls. I've been getting feedback from different people on what they like about this show most, what they don't like. It's overwhelmingly the writing that they're appreciating the most about this show, which, I mean, everything else falls under writing. So that would definitely make sense.
If you just joined the stream, by the way, welcome.
Oh, yes. Welcome, everyone. Let's see if we got any new people. Plasticide, I don't think I have seen you around here before. Here's a sip for you. French mustache. Is that my French mustache?
Oui, c'est un petit peu français. Oui, c'est un petit peu français.
Your French mustache?
No. Moi? Nah.
If I get my hat, my beard is the frame, if you recall.
Let's see. Rick D, I think this is the first time I've seen you. Here's a sip for you.
Hello, Rick.
I love Andor. Aside from The Mandalorian, probably the best thing to come out of the Star Wars galaxy since Rogue One. A lot of people are saying that. So,
I was so excited about Rogue One, and I'm so excited I'm being fed right back into it.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned something on Echo Base Network a couple nights ago, in that I think years from now, after we have Andor Season 2 and everything, and we're way past that, we're going to look back on this time and think Andor was really crucial. In the same way that Rogue One at the time, people thought, oh, that's cool, I guess. Oh, yeah, it ties into A New Hope. But a lot of people, I know, Father Time, you feel the same way. Andor is critical to the story of Star Wars, and it's almost to the point where you can't enjoy A New Hope as much without Rogue One.
Of all the things that had to happen, we're seeing all those things that had to happen.
Yeah,
for this Rebel Alliance to work.
Exactly.
It's cool.
And that's why my main criticism of the show is the marketing and the name. They didn't market the show. I know, exactly.
Yeah.
They didn't market this show as what it is. It's the tale of the formation of the rebellion. That's the story it's telling. But what it was marketed as is the Cassian Andor show. Nobody cares about Cassian Andor. And obviously a lot of us do now that we've seen this show, and maybe some of us even did since Rogue One. But the general population, if they remember who Cassian is, they probably don't even care about his story. And so going into this episode thinking, or this show as a whole thinking, why do I want to learn the story, the life story about this Cassian guy that I didn't really care so much? And I was one of the very few people since over a year ago that at the time I started my channel saying Andor is more than just the story of Cassian Andor. It's giving us a glimpse. I said at the time, it's going to give us a glimpse as to how the rebellion started. And that is what I'm in it for. That's what's interesting. And it's absolutely doing that. I mean, we got in this last episode how scary the Empire is, which a lot of people never realized how evil the Empire was.
Yeah, there was always a talk out there. It's like, okay, we don't know really. Maybe the Jedi's are the bad guys, and we're just been tricked. I mean, there was that
Right.
going out there too. And now we're like, no, the Empire is bad. Like, go kill him and put him in his ship, and then let him float off into space and get found.
Yep.
I want to hang that guy. Okay, do it.
The child torture, murder, screams, psychological torturing. That's nuts. Oh, I'd like to hang him.
Then do it.
What? Okay. I don't know, X-Wing, what are you thinking?
Where do you want me to start?
How did you like this last episode?
I thought it was good. I mean, that's the bottom line is, the problem with the show is not the show. And I think that's been evident in a lot of the way content creators and people have been talking about the show. They say the best they have is Andor. They're saying it's boring. That's
right.
The best thing they have to hate on the show.
Right.
And to be honest with you, it's the only thing that I really have to say at this show. Like at this point, it's I think it needs a little bit of a pump. But when it comes to how the show was written and who it was written for, I think it definitely falls into the league of kids who enjoyed the original trilogy before they saw the prequel trilogy, and now they love this. And then the best thing that we got was Rogue One when Disney took over, and now we're getting a kind of a re-entry into that portion of the universe. And for me, I mean, of course I love it. It's Andor. They got Coruscant right. We have Mon Mothma. There's so many great little tidbits, from here and from there, and they're picking stuff left and right. But I think the problem for the show overall is that people aren't really interested in it because it's made for kind of EU fans. I feel like this is really geared towards like the EU type of Star Wars fan, which makes me happy, but it's not going to be accepted by the wide public because we're nerds. Like, we weren't accepted by the public in the first place.
Well, that kind of reminds me of a comment that went on the video today. Somebody said, for all the haters, you had your Jar Jar days, and here we are now with ours. So let us enjoy our show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people that like the show, they get the criticisms that it's having, and their main comeback is for what this show is trying to be, it's doing it really well. It's not trying to be explosions, Marvel, entertaining every 5 seconds. It's not trying to be that. It's supposed to be dialogue driven, a little bit psychological, a little bit thriller, very serious, very realistic, which I think is another thing that's throwing off a lot of people. And it's doing that exceptionally well. The video I posted yesterday was all about how Andor isn't fun. Now, there's fun parts to it. I'm having fun watching it. A lot of the comments were saying, like, no, I'm having fun. Like, a lot of us are.
Rick
but the show isn't trying to be fun. Yeah, it doesn't. So there's reasonings, and I'm sure, Rick, you've probably heard the explanations as to why there isn't aliens is because Cassian's not an alien. The prison is a humans-only prison. Aliens are not regarded by the Empire as anything more than pack animals. Like pack mules, they work. I mean, think of how they treated the Wookiees. They're just there to work, and they wouldn't even have sanitary conditions like they do on this Narkina 5.
Yeah,
prison.
You're not going to have them building struts for your TIE fighters because they'll sabotage them and they're untrustworthy.
And someone else pointed out in a comment like the language barrier between species. So it wouldn't work. The Empire is very against racist against aliens, if you want to put it that way. So
xenophobic.
It makes sense.
Don't say
Thank
racist.
You. Thank you.
Your stream's gonna get cut. It's xenophobic.
Speciest.
There you go.
Spice
I'm
mines.
still learning
aliens
those.
are in the spice mines.
Yeah, definitely. So to the main topic of tonight, the criticism that a lot of people are putting out there, Andor isn't Star Wars. How's it going, Latino Slant? It's good to see you, Polly. Here's a sip for you. So a lot of people are saying Andor isn't Star Wars. What do you have to say right off the bat to that, Father Time?
I would think exactly the opposite. I think it's more Star Wars than a lot of content, especially since Disney took over, because it shows the real world, not just the fantastic battles. So for me, I think it's more Star Wars. I mean, it's in the same time period. It doesn't have to have, Darth Vader in order to be Star Wars.
Yeah.
You have your movies for that if you want to go see it.
I think a lot of it's obviously very subjective. It doesn't feel like Star Wars, but what is the feeling of Star Wars?
I was going to say, what define that, and then we can go for a different conversation.
If it's the hero's journey, Cassian's not going to provide that for you. If it's the mysticism, there's a greater force power floating over everything, working through all things. It's not really dealing with that. If it's the fun, quippy lines of someone get this walking carpet out of my way, it's not that. So for some people, what they feel is Star Wars is the original trilogy and the heroic adventure. Let's go and do the thing. The little guy's taking charge of the galaxy in this fight against the Empire. And it's not really that. It's not that kind of Star Wars, but I would come back and say, but it fits in the Star Wars universe. Like, I don't really hear anyone putting a rational argument together as to why this show shouldn't take place in the Star Wars universe. It fits really well. It's just not the same kind of storytelling that they're used to.
Which is fine. For me, that's fine.
What do you think, X-Wing? Andor isn't Star Wars.
Well, it's a very tough question, first off, right? Because, again, like you said, it's subjective. What's Star Wars to who, right? Somebody who saw 77 was their first introduction to Star Wars is going to be different than somebody who saw it in 83. It's going to be different to somebody who saw it in 99 or 02 or 05. Everybody's impression of what Star Wars should be is very, very different. And for me, I think, the most important part is immersion. I think if you feel like you're in the universe, then you're doing Star Wars right. You know what I mean? If you're
I judge it the same way.
If you're constantly not being pulled out of it, and there are portions of Andor that do pull me out of it, and I'm a gun nut, so I see an AK-47 and I'm like, you could have done something else, fix that.
The Space K-47.
Yeah, dumb little things like the scuba mask. I'm like, well, you could have done like a rebreather. And then I see snowboard boots in the Imperial facility, and I'm like, that looks so dumb. Because my dad had safety orange snowboard boots, and I think that's a personal thing. I just saw it, and I'm like, it kind of takes me out of it. So. Yeah. For me, I mean, really, when I look at the whole of what Andor is it a complete departure of what Disney has done for Star Wars? Yes. And do I love it for that? Yes. Like, again, I will say over and over again, I think this is more a show written for kind of EU people. Because if all you've ever done is watch Star Wars movies and you watch Andor,
it's nothing like that.
You're not going to like it. But if you've read a bunch of EU books and you watch Andor, you're like, fuck, this is like a great EU book.
Uh-oh.
Excuse my French. Sorry.
What did you say? You're sounding like a separatist.
It's true, though.
No, I get what you're saying. It's very different. And I totally understand how you're saying it's for the EU people, because the EU people are in it for the world. They want to learn all the details about the world. They want to be immersed in the world, and it doesn't matter if it's characters that they know. Like, they can pick a book up of a time period they've never read with characters they've never read, and they're going to love it because it puts them in the galaxy, into a place they've never been in before.
Right.
That's what this show is doing.
It doesn't have to be Star Wars. That could be any book you pick up.
Sure.
And you put yourself in there and you're like, wow, that was great.
But there is one thing, if I may, and I made a video on this, that I think they really missed out on. I think the music in Andor... Look, I was a music major. I think the music in Andor really kind of pulls me out of some moments.
Yeah, there's
just
been a
does.
couple, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago about the like drum and bass beat, like cat 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 cat. Like a couple songs like that, but for the most part, the like vaporwave style music, I love it. And
I
that's
haven't noticed anything pulling me out of anything with as far as
It
music
works
goes.
if
I'm
you're
okay
on
with that.
Coruscant. That's what I'll say. So, like, play to your audience, right? If you're on Coruscant, then that kind of works, right? You got that like new wave, like kind of weird stuff. Totally works if you're on Coruscant. You're in this like weird kind of almost dystopian future, big city. But if you're in, a junkyard or a salvage area, or you're back on Ferrix, where it's very much like, I mean, look, it's discount Tatooine. Let's be real with ourselves. This is very much discount Tatooine, kind of, outer rim, nowhere kind of place. You're not going to have that kind of music
it's like
going on.
Baraka mixed with Tatooine.
Yeah,
I'm gonna agree with Isaac here. He says he hasn't seen the EU. He's seen Rogue One, and that's enough to pull you in. I agree. If you've seen Rogue One, you're invested in this story already.
Right. And so I will also bring a different take. My sister-in-law is a very casual Star Wars fan. Very casual, as in has seen the movies maybe once. The main movies. She was watching just this last episode, episode 9, where Olaf dies at the end. And just that one episode. What? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? But she saw that episode 9, the one we just got, and she said, I got to go watch this whole thing. And then she went back to the beginning of Andor and watched all of Andor, and that brought her in. And now she's interested in like, oh yeah, I think I saw part of that Rogue One. I'm going to go watch that Rogue One. And so this show, I feel like, of course that's an anecdote, but I feel like a lot of people are going to be the same way. They're going to check out this show. They're going to hear word of mouth like, hey, I know you don't like Star Wars, but this show is really good. The acting is great. It's got this character. It's got this actor and this actor and this actor. Check it out. And then it's going to get them like, oh, there's a whole universe here. I got to figure out like where it fits into the timeline. They're going to search up Star Wars theory, timeline, and just the generic things that people brand new to the Star Wars franchise
that was the one thing that the show did, is that I actually recommended the show to people that are older than me. So like my mom and my dad, I was like, you might want to watch this one. Like Kenobi, I was like, you probably passed that one up.
Yeah.
And like
exactly.
My brother, who's a big Lord of the Rings nerd, when it came to Kenobi, I'm like, just don't watch it. Don't watch Book of Boba Fett. Just don't watch it. Andor, I'm like, dude, you should really give this a fair shake. You should give it a fair shake, and it might piss off a couple. It's so tough. The show is so weird when it comes to gauging people's reactions, because we finally got. I'm going to give a roundabout, and then I'm going to shut up. I feel like we finally got a show that we really, really needed, that should have been in between a big boom for Star Wars and a big boom for Star Wars. So essentially, this would have been like way better released at the end of Mando season 2 and right before a movie release. This would have done very well with, like, I think most of the fan base. Unfortunately, we're at a point right now with the culture with Star Wars that people have they're just mad all the time, and they don't want to give anything a chance.
You mentioned that in your stream a couple nights ago about Star Wars fatigue, and this is the first time it's actually coming into play. Where there was the Star Wars
actually coming into
right.
play.
There was the Star Wars fatigue after Solo, where people are like, oh, they didn't go to see Solo because they're getting too much Star Wars. And you made the point, like, how much money have I spent building this room? There is no such thing as Star Wars fatigue.
It's not a real thing.
Right. what there can be is
apathy.
If you put out stuff that repeatedly doesn't live up to the expectations that you yourselves put on it. What did we say? What did they say before? All killer, no thriller, no filler. Ben Stiller. I don't know. But when they're hyping up these shows,
Bobby Rodriguez, he's like, "Yep, all killer, no filler." I'm like, "Wow."
Okay, so I'm trying to. It's hard for me to give an objective view of Andor or Rogue One or Star Wars, because I'll just take what they give me and I'm okay with it. So what I try to do, and I just did this today, is take myself out of this. And if I was looking objectively the same way as Andor, but to Star Trek, I love the Star Trek big screen movies, but I'm not okay with the offshoots and the other worlds that they're exploring in other shows. And those aren't my thing. So from that comparison, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's probably the same realm of worlds, but I just don't like those. I like the big movies, and I could see, how people would say, well, Andor's not what I like about Star Wars, and so I just can't do it. And I get that.
Well, a lot of fans, are like, I need, I need big space battles. I need lightsaber battles. Like, I need this and I need that from a show. And I think Star Wars is really going through this kind of like, there's a little bit of a growth phase going on right now, because you have to realize that Star Wars was one way forever. You got John Williams and you got George Lucas, and that's what Star Wars was.
It's true.
And in my brain, that's what Star Wars is always going to be. And so I'm a little less pliable when I think about how Star Wars should be. And I watch a show like Andor. I'm really enjoying it because, oh my God, we have good writing. We have good acting. Holy shit. We finally got something like that in a Star Wars project. So
Quality.
Of course, I'm very excited about it.
Some may
because
even
we're getting quality.
Some may even argue that this is the best quality we've ever gotten in Star Wars, just because of the technology of the old movies. It's good. Some people may argue. I don't know. Some people, and then
I'll
obviously
throw
the
you off a cliff
prequels.
for
Sorry,
blasphemy like that.
I'm sorry.
No, I will throw you off the cliff.
I've told you my Star Wars movies ranking, right?
Oh God, no, I don't want to see it.
All of the prequels come before the originals for my
Okay,
list.
yeah, no, we're on the same page. No, I'm just kidding. The OGs will
I don't know where I
always
was going with
be.
that.
The OGs will always be
Right.
there. I just, it's interesting because we're taking this big swing. We're making a big change, and there are a lot of us who love Star Wars, and this is the important thing. There's a difference between people who make videos who want to gain traction and people who love Star Wars. There is, but it's very hard to detect. For me, I'm somebody who loves Star Wars, and I want to see it change and grow. I just want to see it change and grow in the right way.
Right.
And so,
but then that's subjective too. What's the right way?
And that's the thing.
It's so tricky.
Who's it right? Who's it right for? Is it
You're
right?
never going to make everyone happy. Period.
Right.
So start
and this
from
is
that.
the thing. You hear adapted for a modern audience. When I see that for a movie, I'm like, I don't want to watch it.
Right.
I don't want to see something adapted for a modern audience. And when it comes to Star Wars, no, I don't want to see it adapted for a modern audience. I would like to see good, straight up storytelling the way that I grew up with. And is it good for me and it's bad for other people? Probably, maybe. I don't know.
All the dark things we're seeing in Andor, by the way, were always there. We were just never seeing any of it.
Right.
So now that we're seeing that side, I love it.
It's not doing anything super revolutionary as far as what's happening in the galaxy. This is stuff that's always been there, like you were just saying. Like the Empire was always this bad. They always had prisons like this. We've just never gotten inside look at it.
Yep.
It's not like the sequels where it's doing something completely different and rewriting the Force and how it works and hyperspace ramming. It's not doing anything crazy like that.
Horses running on the outside of spaceships.
I forgot about that.
And that's the other thing is, we're not rewriting anything with the show.
Right.
There's no rewriting anything. It's just Star Wars.
It's a breath of fresh air or a breath of different air, depending on how you want to look at it from a certain point of view. But it's different. For some people, it's very refreshing. Like for me, the realism that it's adding is super refreshing for me because it's not very hard for that suspension of disbelief. It doesn't take as much effort for this as opposed to the major,
they shouldn't
movies
have done the prison. I'm just getting that out there right now. They shouldn't have done the prison. I mean, it looks like the Star Cruiser, 100%.
Oh, now that you say that,
I mean, it is spot on.
I have nothing to say.
I'll have to think about that. I'll have to think about that. The Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel was Disney's hotel that they opened up, but it looked like generic space sci-fi inside, and it was crazy expensive and terrible. And I'll fill you in later. It's not good. Let's get to the comment of the week real quick. I forgot to mention this
Oh, were you
earlier.
telling that to me?
Yes.
No, I know exactly what it is. I was saying I have nothing to say because
Oh.
it's correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, maybe
Yeah.
that they obviously maybe they're doing a little marketing thing.
Well, there's
Like,
also
where have I
the
seen that before? Oh yeah, that was in Andor. Hey, I want to go there.
yeah. There's also the complaint that the prison is just taking too long and it's a detour from the story that we really want to see.
I can feel that.
I mean, it's giving us information about the Empire, and I'm okay
what are
with
we
that.
on 3 weeks of prison now?
This will be the 3rd week of prison, which is the same as the Aldani arc. 3 episodes of that, and the 3 episodes on Ferrix at the beginning. So maybe it's just contributing to people saying that this show is slow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much detail to
If
soak
this
up.
one is again a whole episode of the prison without an action scene, I'll be sad.
Yeah, this needs to be the prison break,
Yes.
especially because we'll only have 2 episodes after this. So the right thing to happen will be episode 10, prison break, and then 11 and 12 is the 2-part finale for the first season.
Mon Mothma.
Launching us into the second season. That's what
I
needs to
haven't
happen.
seen as much Saw as I thought I would have seen Saw.
That's right. That's right. Here's the comment of the week. I just wanted to bring this up from Camilla Walter.
I knew you were going to pick that one.
It's really good. She wanted to cite that Franz Kafka's letter to Oscar Pollock because it goes perfectly with the discussion about Andor. And that quote is, "I think we ought to read only the kind of books that wound and stab us. If the book we are reading doesn't wake us up with a blow to the head, what are we reading it for? We need the books that affect us like a disaster, that grieve us deeply, like the death of someone we loved more than ourselves, like being banished into forests far from everyone, like a suicide. A book must be the axe for the frozen sea inside us." That's what this show is doing. It's affecting us in a way that Star Wars hasn't before. And especially, like, if you saw my video talking about Ulov's death, that was really real for a lot of people. I'm sure you can agree with that. But a lot of people said that, they couldn't even watch that scene because of what it meant to them. And other people come back at that and say, well, that kind of realism doesn't belong in Star Wars because it's supposed to be fantasy and science fiction and all the way out there. But, I mean...
Well, they used a little tube in his arm. That's science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think about Andor being a blow to the head, so to speak?
A blow to the head?
So the comment I just wrote while you were gone was basically talking about we should only read the kind of books that wound and stab us. If it doesn't wake us up, what are we reading it for? So, like, something serious that affects us deeply, as opposed to mind-numbing entertainment.
So I'll tell you a little story, Coffee and Father. This has been my experience consuming content in the modern era. I only choose to consume content that has some sort of an effect on my personality, my life, the way I interact with people. There has to be some sort of a lesson or something in the show, right? So for me, one of the big ones I love is like World War II movies. I love those because you see camaraderie, you know, bravery, all these different kind of things.
Oh, I just watched a good one last night that you'd probably have seen. Fury.
Oh, Fury was phenomenal. I will never forget the scene when the building collapses and he's grabbing him and he says, "This is war. This is war." I mean, I was in tears. Like,
I'll have to check it out.
Stuff like that has kind of a profound impact on you. And you wake up the next morning, you're walking around and you're like, God, I'm lucky to be alive. This is what a wonderful day we have here in America where I can do whatever the heck I want.
I felt that after Fury last night.
Yeah, it really changes you. And so, yeah, I really do appreciate that kind of impact. I don't think Star Wars should have so much of a real world impact as it should have more of a psychological impact. And so that was something
Definitely.
that happened with me when it came to the prequels, something that I learned, and I think this was timing for me. It was very much about girls. The prequels were very much about girls. It was don't be possessive. Don't be psychopathic when it comes to girls. You know, if you put what's the song? Hold on loosely, but don't let go. If you cling too tightly, you're gonna lose control, right? That's Anakin's song. And so, you know, I think there's a difference when it comes to like what we should be really bringing into the real world while maintaining the element of escapism.
Yeah.
And when you have actors and people, you know, taking big steps on social media and saying this is, you know, basically this is funny mustache man from the 1940s and talking about that kind of stuff, I don't think it's appropriate. And so you lose a little bit of that escapism there.
And that's why I've stuck away from the social media of the people involved with this show. I don't want to know. I don't want to read the articles about reading in politics into this show because that's not.
It'll
why
ruin
I'm
it
here.
for you.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
some of the things people are mentioning about it.
There's enough politics in the show that go in the storyline that you can enjoy.
Yeah, that's the politics that should be in here. Like, let's talk about the little meeting, the small talk between senators, all talking about. Yeah, like the group of 4 people. One of them is like, "Well, if the rebels, you know, if they have nothing to fear, then why are they worrying about the harsher punishments and stuff?" And it's like, that's the politics we need in Star Wars because it belongs in it, and Star Wars has to be timeless. We've all talked about that before. It has to be timeless, and so the real life situations and emotions and personality traits, anything that we can connect to has to be timeless. It has to be universal. The loss of a mother with Anakin losing his mom, like that's timeless. We all can relate to that, and it doesn't have anything to do with our current world.
Yeah, just human emotions.
Yep. And I think they did capture that with Ulaf's death and with Nemik's death. That just how we felt about that. It was something very, very deep and not just a lightsaber to the chest or a blaster on the side of the ship and it explodes.
I don't know, man. I felt Bodhi. That hurt.
From Rogue One?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rogue One. You did a video on that, Coffee, about all the characters from Rogue One. We were invested in all of them.
I did the character. Oh yeah, I touched on that with the characters from Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this show is very good at that, about setting up the characters through their subtle mentions. With Ulaf mentioning, oh, he has 50 shifts left. He has 40 shifts left. He's the next man out. Giving us little details like that. With Nemik, we got to see his insight. Oh, he's just a kid, and he's written this manifesto. I want to read that manifesto. Oh, he got crushed with credits.
I think that's my favorite. That's my favorite character arc was him and his little manifesto, and I hope something else comes of that. But
yeah,
Andy Serkis has no place being in the show. He's way too good for this. He's so good in this freaking show, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, his mannerisms and his phrasing is perfect. It's not polished when he's yelling like. When you guys have no idea what they're doing on the other side of the building. Like, it's just a guy yelling. It's not an actor reading lines.
Andy's
so good.
He could be just as much a high posh man in 1420 in London as he could be, you know, a prisoner in a galaxy far, far away. He's perfect.
Yep. Anyway, I think it is time to play a little game, assuming I set it up correctly, called Wikipedia Fact or Cap.
Nice.
Matt Cave with the W. Common Matt W.
So this game, if any of you guys might as well.
Calls to you.
I love that human being. I can't tell you how much I love that man.
He's just I keep telling him all the time. I wish we lived
in every
closer.
way. He's perfect in every way. There's not a bad thing you could say about that human.
No, he's just such a good dude. So this game, Wikipedia Fact or Cap, everyone in chat, you guys can play along too. If you don't know how we are playing this, I will
please
bring
play
up,
along because these are hard. So
these are fun. I'll bring up a fact about said character. Tonight we are doing Captain Panaka. Forgot his first name.
God.
Korsh? Is it Korsh Panaka?
Hashtag
correct
fake
me. I think
fan.
it's-
Yeah,
I think
Panaka.
it's
But we know who Panaka is. Head
Yeah,
of security for
Captain
Naboo
Panaka.
Royal Guard. Yeah.
Exactly. So tonight we're doing about him. I looked over the Wikipedia hotkey. I don't know how that happened. I got to figure that out.
How is that guy
Anyway.
not a millionaire?
I don't know. Seriously, how does he not have 1,000 subs already?
I might be a billionaire.
Still
We don't know
frustrating.
yet.
Still frustrating. Matt
I might
should
be a billionaire.
You might be.
Well,
that's true.
I might
That's
just give
not even
Matt
a
my
green
channel.
screen behind
I think
you.
I might retire and just give Matt my channel.
Yeah, Father Time's actually a billionaire, and that's an actual
This is an
background
actual
behind you.
Yes, my work center.
You paid to
He
have a
made the planet.
replica Yavin 4.
He made Yavin. Yeah.
That's awesome. Anyway, I'm going to bring up a fact about Panaka on screen.
Okay.
And you, Father Time and X-Wing, you guys are going to have to judge whether this is fact or cap. And everyone in the chat is going to play along as well. Let me see if there's any relevant comments.
Gosh.
Korsh. Okay, so Dailerman said it was Korsh. Korsh Panaka. A walking
I
W.
sent him a message, actually. I tried to talk to him. I didn't get a message back.
Who?
The guy who played Panaka. I can't remember his name.
I was thinking about doing that as well.
I sent him a message. He was like,
I sent a message to Kyle Solar's agent, and I haven't heard anything back.
yeah.
That would be awesome
look,
to get him on my show.
what's the worst he can do?
I'm waiting
Just
to hear
get
back
no.
from Source Bandim or Ross Speedman, the Master Skywalker kid. Waiting to hear back from him. Anyway, on with the game. So I'm going to bring
He's
the
not
fact
down for
thing
stuff.
up.
I don't know if you know that. He's not down for stuff.
We'll see.
He got to meet Hayden, and he was like, well, that's it. I'm done.
All right. So I'm going to bring up the fact. You guys are going to decide if it's fact or cap. Everyone in chat, you guys can decide as well. The first one we have is Panaka was in communication with the Hutts and advised Padme to stop on Tatooine for repairs.
True.
Cap.
Cap?
That's yes.
That was
I got
Cap?
one right.
That was Cap. So
That's the first time I got one right.
Big fan. Big fan. I seem to remember him in the holocom. He was talking.
no.
That's why. This is why I was thinking that.
Nope, here you go. Panaka protested vigorously,
There you go.
arguing that the planet was
It's
ruled
Hutt
by Hutt
space.
gangsters.
Fuck. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, Queen.
All right,
I'm gonna have
on
to-
with the show.
You have to be like the priest, though. You have to be like, that will be 5 Phantom Menaces for you. Like, you have to go watch 5 Phantom Menace like 5 times. after
I'll
that.
watch Phantom Menace 5 times. I don't have a problem with that. All right, next one. Let's see if anyone in chat got it.
I need a little pod race in my life.
False. Cap. Yeah, everyone got it in chat. All right, the next one.
Big fan.
That's not the right one. That's the answer.
What was
I'm
that?
trying to find the thing. Here it is. Before becoming head of security on Naboo, Panaka fought space pirates.
It looks good on a resume. I'm gonna say
Yeah, I
fact.
think, dude, I'm with time on this. I'm gonna say fact.
He's right.
Oh yeah, 2 for 2.
You are so good
the-
at clips.
Explanation for that is in his youth, he gained combat experience in a Republic Special Task Force that fought against space pirates in his native Kamel sector. Anyway, he fought pirates. And that
Nice.
is pretty cool.
Good to know.
All right, the next one. Panaka never married. He was fully devoted to the safety of Naboo.
That sounds so good. I'm gonna have to say that's fact.
I'm like digging through my brain to see if he ever mentioned anything. And I can't come up with anything in my mind. I'm gonna say fact, dude. I mean, he was devoted.
Yeah. We got
No!
All right. So Panaka was married to Mariek Panaka. He also had a niece and a nephew.
Wow.
So he was married, surprisingly.
Okay.
Their marriage
Okay.
fell apart, by the way, which is not good. But
Before or after the Battle of Naboo?
after,
Panaka
was he married?
v.
I don't know.
Panaka.
He was married.
All right. Why don't you do the research necessary? Okay.
All right. Next one. Panaka attended Qui-Gon's cremation ceremony.
Fact. Oh my god. Wait, hold on. I'm doing a scan. I'm doing a scene scan. I don't know, but I'm going in fact.
I'm gonna go.
Going in
I'm
fact.
gonna go against you there, Cap. I don't know.
Okay. I'm going
I've got
fact.
no idea.
He's right.
Right.
I'm
He's
almost positive I saw his face.
Yes, he's there. Shortly thereafter, Panaka attended the cremation of Jin, who was slain during the fight with Darth Maul before participating in the parade held in Theed to celebrate the liberation of Naboo and the newfound alliance between Naboo and the Gungans.
Is he seen in the movie though?
I don't know. I couldn't remember, which is why I
we gotta
included
look
it.
that back. Yeah, we gotta look that back.
But he was there. All right, next one. Panaka often vehemently argued politics with Padme's father, Rui.
Just by the way he acts, I'm gonna say true. I mean, he did that with Padme too. He's all, stop being stupid.
Father Time?
We gotta move.
I don't have any idea. I will go fact.
He's right.
Yep.
Oh, good.
Nice. And the explanation,
Is this coming from the novelization?
I have no idea where it's coming from. It's coming from Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
But during his visits, he engaged Amidala's father, Rui Naberi, in a series of friendly but heated debates concerning Naboo's military actions. So that was true. All right, we got a couple more.
Do you see
Panaka?
Isaac's comment?
No, but let me check it out. Tales of the Jedi 2 is going to be nothing but Panaka retcons.
I thought that was funny.
Oh, I love it. All right. So Panaka suspected that Leia Organa was the daughter of Padme Amidala.
Fudge. I was gonna say fact, but I'm thinking
Like, how do you make that up if it's not fact?
I'm
What?
calling it fact.
I'm gonna go Cap.
I'm calling fact.
He's right.
That was true. Again, I have no idea where it's from, but that's what Wikipedia says. And I don't have the clip because StreamYard wouldn't let me add that one in for some reason. Anyway, we got two more. Panaka was eventually promoted to Moff Panaka.
Call cap. Dude, if I didn't hear about this is some deep EU stuff. If I missed this, I'm gonna call cap.
We got people saying fact in the chat. I'm gonna
I'm
go
gonna
Cap.
call cap.
All right, chat, what do you guys think about Moff Panaka?
Cap.
Sounds weird.
It does sound weird.
He's right.
X-Wing's face.
Yeah, that surprised me. Panaka remained loyal to the newly anointed emperor and was made Moff, or governor, of his native Kamal Chamal sector.
Kamal Chamal.
Kamal Chamal. Yeah.
I went
surprising.
from one of my most beloved characters to now I hate him more than anyone in all of Star Wars.
He became Moff and his marriage fell apart.
You turned him against me.
All right.
That actually
and,
was pretty good.
and the
Wow.
last
Yeah, you
that
sounded
that
good
blew
there.
my mind. So the last one, Moff Panaka was killed during a bombing run led by Wedge Antilles.
I hope that's true.
Oh, look
Let's
at
call
the
Let's call
chat.
it.
That was put up before your little thing, so I'm gonna have to say fact.
I'm saying fact because I want it to be true. I'll go grab my wedge helmet.
Space Jockey
John
called
says he
it.
thinks he got blown up.
That was before your little thing here went alive.
All right. Do we think Moff Panaka was killed during a bombing run led by Wedge
I
Antilles?
really hope he did.
So I'm gonna have to go with fact.
Liar! No!
Oh, Space Jockey called it wrong.
That would have
Never
been
listening
so
to Space
awesome.
Jockey again.
All right. So the true way that Moff Panaka died,
Moff Panaka.
although the Moff intended to warn the Emperor of his findings as soon as the visitors were gone, he did not have time as the bomb exploded in his chalet,
so he was,
destroying the
right.
building and killing him in the process. As Organa later found out, the bomb was planted by Saw Gerrera's partisans.
Oh,
Okay,
no,
so we
not
got a
good.
real Operation Valkyrie thing kind of going down.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of that movie earlier today. I want to rewatch that one.
Interesting.
No,
Wow.
yeah.
Space Jockey was
Panaka
right.
became a
It
Moff
just wasn't
in
a
the
bombing run by
Empire.
led by Wedge.
Yeah,
You
it
broke
wasn't
my
led
heart
by
today,
Wedge.
Coffee.
With
You
Moff
really broke my
Panaka.
heart. Yeah, you really broke my heart. Honestly, he was always like one of those guys from the prequel
He's just so
trilogy that was
cool.
like, yeah, unshaken, just
Yep.
like totally devout, and
Yeah, that blew my
better at
mind.
this
I just thought of his name. I pulled it up, and then that was like the first thing I saw on Wikipedia.
it just shows you how much
Crazy.
you can learn about Star Wars, man.
Seriously, from all the books and everything,
Moff
Wikipedia's awesome.
Panaka.
Yeah, very strange.
Gross.
I want a portrait of him with his like Imperial Moff uniform.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That would be really cool. Maybe I'll have to paint one, just like that one.
What a
Uh,
dick.
Who wants to lick the batter?
I'm good.
I do.
All right. All right. Well, this has been Wikipedia Fact or
I miss him.
All right. Returning to Andor. I'm assuming we're going to get the prison break next episode. 2 days.
Can you imagine if it didn't happen?
I would be sad.
There's no way. There's not enough episodes left after this one. So if the prison break is episode 11, that leaves one episode for the finale. I don't see that happening.
Remember Book of Boba Fett? We're like, something's got to happen.
Nothing happened.
We got a spin trick.
That was so dope.
So many memes came out of that.
So good.
So, any predictions for this next episode?
Time?
Prison break, and I think it'll be led by Andor, and I think Golem is going to be on board, but I don't think he'll have the information, but I don't
Did you
think
say
he'll be the one
Gollum?
leading it. Yeah,
I think that Andy Serkis, I think Smeagol is fully on board. I think now, like he's been in there long enough, he knows.
I think he is
everything.
too. I just don't think he's going to lead the escape. He has the facts on who's where and all the timings, but I don't think he's going to be in charge of.
No, I
calling
think
it.
I think he realized they're going to kill me anyway.
Yeah,
They're going to
yeah,
kill
for
all
sure.
of us anyway, because he's held on. He hasn't let himself have hope that there is a possibility to escape. He hasn't let himself even entertain those thoughts, but he's picked up on all the details. And when he realizes they're either just going to put us on another level or just kill us, they don't care about us. We mean nothing to them. There's no chance that we are ever getting out of here. All of that denial of hope has been erased.
Everyone's saying Kino dies.
Yeah, that's a couple people were commenting that before as well. Yeah, he'll sacrifice himself to get the others out. Seems likely. Which is
I
gonna be
could see
sad
that.
because he's
I
like a
could
great
totally see that.
character. So I do think he's still blown away by Moff Panaka.
Dude, me too, man. I'm still reeling off of that.
We don't talk about Kino. Yeah, I do think he's not going to make it out. But I also think he's going to be full in on it. He's going to be planning, putting into practice. He's going to be leading the charge with Andor out of necessity at this point. So that'd be my prediction on that.
Yeah,
Anyone
there's
else?
a lot more going on because I don't think we'll get any further with Cyril Karn. They may throw him in for a couple things, but I don't think we'll see what his motives
Not in
are or
this
where he's
episode.
going.
No, we're gonna
No.
get a. So I said this very, very, very early on in the season. I said this guy is the perfect Imperial, right? Because he started out as like this low grade officer working for a security bureau, and he got the very first taste of the rebellion, and he got shamed, got fired from his job. He got completely shamed. He got completely like boofed out of what it means to fight against this insurrection. Like he's set up to be the most sadistic, gnarly, like insane Imperial officer in the world. And then a lot of people are like, oh, he's weird. He's like totally crazy about this girl. So imagine how mad he is about Andor and Luthen getting away. Now, imagine how sadistic and insane he would be if the rebels kill what's the blonde girl's name?
Dedra.
Dedra. What if Dedra gets killed by the rebels? Now, Cyril becomes like a manic psychopath that is dead set on hunting down the rebels, like perfect Imperial. Great backstory.
Yeah. And then you know what? He's gonna paint his face blue and call himself Thrawn.
I'm really looking forward to that in Ahsoka. It's going to be amazing.
I wouldn't doubt Disney at this point, but I completely see what you're saying. There is an opportunity for Cyril to still come and play a major part in this story and in the second season.
Yeah,
because there's nothing he won't do, especially if his mind isn't in the right place. He has to correct his record. He has to clear his name and hunt down these rebels.
he's going to wind up being Tarkin.
Is that his main focus, though, clearing his name? Or does he still want them to do the right thing?
Don't know. I think both.
It looks like he just wants to clear his name.
Andor season 2 finale. He goes, I'm no longer.
Somebody put in the chat, how do they get off the planet? But I think Vel is still hunting him, right?
You see a Force ghost of like Palpatine, and he goes, I'm Cyril Tarkin. And that's how Andor season 2 ends.
Nah.
And then he buries his comlink in the Death Star or something. I don't know.
Isn't Vel still trying to kill Andor?
I don't know.
No, Vel doesn't want to kill Andor.
Whose mission is to kill him?
It's Vel, but she was given that by Clea, so we don't know.
She's looking for him. She's not going to kill him.
No,
he's
too
She's not
important.
going to kill him, but
He's too important.
We know he's does because
somehow Andor returned.
Unless his sister is actually his brother, and that's who takes his identity.
That's where the politics come into play.
Yeah, okay.
The Disney
That's
magic.
about as far as I'm going to go in that one.
Yeah. So Cyril is too weak to ever become Dengar. Yeah.
He's not
Cyril with dark side powers.
Anyway,
I think the planet would blow up.
I hope we get more Staw interaction.
I'm confident.
I don't know what we will use him for yet, but
just give me more Luthen. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I agree. Anything at this point, like they're going into this season, a lot of people had that cautious optimism that they were talking about. I don't have that anymore. I trust what they're doing with the story because they've proven themselves to this point.
Who's in charge of the stolen money at this point?
Luthen. Did it go? Or Vel had it last we know.
They devalued Andor by bringing in Luthen and Mon as, side characters, but they're the only people we really give a crap about because I want to see where the money's going. How are we doing this? Where is the rebellion actually starting? I don't really care about Andor at this point. What is Mon Mothma doing? Luthen and Mothma are clearly the key players here. So I'm interested in their story. Like, screw Andor. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, they're pulling the strings.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
care about that.
It
So
goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is the larger implications for this rather than just the story of Cassian Andor. It's a fascinating story, and I want to know, especially with that manifesto, I want to look at and see how that affects him and how he gets to where he is in Rogue One. That is interesting, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for information about how the Empire runs itself at this time, which we've gotten a lot of, and then how does the Rebel Alliance form? How do they come
how
together?
mad are you going to be when it's his manifesto at the end? The rebel insignia is at the back of his journal, and you're like, "That is not how
I
that
would be,
started."
yeah, I would be upset. I would be a little upset. But if there was the line "Rebellions are built on hope" written in one of the pages, and he kind of took that, although was he saying that in jest at the beginning of Rogue One?
Meh.
I don't know. Either way, I hope that they publish the manifesto as an actual book to buy and read. I would buy
There's
it.
one thing Korriban loves. It's manifestos. Look at that mustache.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Anyway, final thoughts before we shut it down for the night.
I love you. Thanks for having me on. Love you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Andor needs to finish very strong. Star Wars needs to get a movie on the big screen yesterday.
Very valid points. I agree with you. Father Time?
As far as Andor, I'm just enjoying what they're giving me. I think this last, because I was set on the 3-arc plan of episode 9, I was kind of waiting for something to happen in that, and no space battles happened. It was okay, and I was happy with it, but it kind of threw me off.
Yeah. Maybe I should make an Imperial O's commercial. Like a fake commercial for the cereal.
That'd be awesome.
Cereal.
Cereal.
Bantha Puffs.
Blue Panther Puffs.
I'll come up with some ideas, and maybe I'll make a commercial. That'd be fun. Yeah, this arc is 8 to 10. So next episode is going to be the final one, and then I'm imagining a 2-part finale for 11 and 12. So that seems most likely.
Oh no, we know about 2-part finales.
With Bad Batch.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Not going down that hole.
Yeah, don't put all of your excitement for the finale in the first of the 2 parts. Yeah. Yeah, I'm confident that they will finish with a bang. They've done so
if
far.
he ends up after episode 12 still in jail, I'll be pretty upset.
0 chance of that happening. 1% chance of that happening.
I think
you gave it a percent.
Episode 12, we're gonna get the link tree to Bix's OnlyFans. I think that's probably
what do we
happen.
think in the wind down of these episodes through this season? What are we gonna get answers to?
Bix's OnlyFans, most likely.
I don't think so.
No, I mean, it's a smart move by Disney. You know,
I know nothing about that. I think we're gonna see Andor's motivations as to why he's joining the rebellion. Because right now he doesn't have any
Something
motivation.
big's gonna happen.
Yeah,
it couldn't be Olaf.
And also think about if episode 6 was the finale after the Aldani heist, first season would have been fine. If it had only been announced 6 episodes and then the Aldani heist was the end of it,
we would have wanted more. We would have been like, that was cool. I want
sure,
more.
but the ending was fine, and so I'm pretty confident that they're going to know how to do it at the end of it. So
I think if they don't make a big fat sploosh at the end of Andor, season 2 will be more poorly received than season 1.
that's sad to think about.
Yeah, it really is. But if you think about it, I mean, they kind of have to do like a Mando season 2, and I don't want to see it relegated to like a big cameo or something like that. But they really got to do something, because if people were kind of bored on the idea of season 1, season 2's got to have something, you know.
Yeah. Bix dies, Mom dies. He's
Yeah,
got
we're
nowhere
kind
to
of done
turn
with
except for
Mom right
rebellion.
now, right? Story wise. I mean,
Yeah.
she proved her
So-
point.
so
She
there-
likes the rebels.
So I think here's a quick prediction, and before we shut it down. Marva is going to be starting the rebellion on Ferrix. There's a heavy Imperial presence. She's going to get in there. During this whole situation, Bix is going to die. Marva's going to die.
If Bix
Andor's
dies,
gonna-
I'm not watching the show anymore.
Andor is going to witness the atrocities of the Empire firsthand to the people that he loves. And then he's going to become full force into the rebellion going into season 2. That's what I think. But that's just a prediction. We'll see what happens. We're going to get a new episode in a couple hours. Well, a day and a couple hours, that is. I thought it was tomorrow. It's not.
Is it Monday? Oh,
It's Monday still. Yeah.
gross.
Well, everyone in the chat, thank you for being very lively. Hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. Father Time, X-Wing, thank you guys for coming along.
Always.
And everyone, if you've been here since the very beginning, I really appreciate your time. May this stash be with you, and I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.